Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, guys, the weekend is officially here. Let me know what your guys' plans are down in the comments below. I hope everybody's having a great weekend so far. I have a lot to go over, and I want to really kind of start off with Elizabeth Warren. So back in roughly like March and April of this year, we seen that she was putting together this anti-crypto army. That's what this article was talking about from CoinDesk, and how this was just the beginning. And it seems as though we got confirmation that this is just the beginning. We are going to go over this and really kind of talk about it. But the main topic point at that point in time was that crypto is only utilized for illegal activity, which could be buying and selling drugs, for an example, money laundering. I mean, I don't think these people realize what the US dollar is utilized for, especially Brad Sherman. Brad Sherman is an absolute clown show as well. But we know that Elizabeth Warren is in the same crowd that Gary Gensler is in. Going all the way back to June of this year, we've seen SEC Chair Gary Gensler has close ties with anti-crypto Senator Elizabeth Warren, which, I mean, this really kind of explains a lot, right? But we know that this is the truth, because if we go all the way back about 7 months ago, and I remember this specifically, but this is a video that Crypto Eddie actually posted, and this is addressing Gary Gensler and Senator Elizabeth Warren collude prior to hearing with questions about cryptocurrency. Check this out real quick.
Consumer protection is built into the SEC's DNA. As incoming SEC Chair Gary Gensler faced a critical task: put the genie back in the bottle and bring the crypto ecosystem into regulatory compliance after Trump's regulators had allowed it to explode. In less than 2 years under Gary's leadership, the SEC has made a good start. The SEC has helped to keep crypto volatility out of the banking system by holding banks and other public companies responsible for the risks of custodying crypto assets. The Commission has worked to protect investors from crypto products, especially prone to fraud and market manipulation, by preventing Bitcoin exchange-traded funds from hitting the market. And most importantly, it appears that the Commission is still ramping up. That's why the industry is scared of a strong SEC. The SEC has the right rules and the right experience, and Gary Gensler is demonstrating that he is the right leader to get the job done. That's why, as I've said before, the SEC needs to do even more and use the full force of its regulatory powers across the entirety of the crypto market. The SEC should double down and use its tools to enforce the rules. And where the SEC needs more cops on the beat, then Congress needs to step up with the resources and the new authorities that are needed to make sure the SEC can do its work at full strength in every corner of the crypto market. I look forward to working with you to make sure that our regulators have the tools they need so that crypto markets are not a place where drug dealers are welcome and consumers get cheated.
All right, a bombshell report tonight about how Elizabeth Warren, Senator Elizabeth Warren, and her office coordinated testimony with the Securities and Exchange Commission ahead of a Senate hearing. The Heritage Foundation Oversight Project, of which I'm associated, through a FOIA request, obtained emails from Warren's office to the office of Chairman Gary Gensler 2 days before his Senate testimony back in September of 2021. The email from Warren's economic policy advisor includes a list of questions. Get this, a list of questions that Senator Warren planned to ask, along with suggested answers for the chairman of the SEC. The advisor also wrote, quote, "Let me know if you're okay with the questions as currently written." 2 days later, she sent a follow-up, quote, "Let me know if it's looking like the chair has any issue with the framing of the questions. Definitely don't want to put him in a tough spot," end quote. And it appears the chairman didn't have any issue with these questions because Senator Warren asked almost verbatim from the email. Check this out.
Chair Gensler, advocates say crypto markets are all about financial inclusion, but the people who are most economically vulnerable are the ones who are most likely to have to withdraw their money the fastest when the market drops. Does this sound like the path to financial inclusion to you?
So again, you know, as we do look at this, right, like it really is comical that these are still the people that are in power. Like, what is going on here? But listen, we already know what's going on here, right? This is, it's all corruption, manipulation. They're trying to hurt the retail sector. They're not trying to help the retail sector at all. But also, outside of this, right, here we have from Moon Lambo. Here's a list of people to vote out of office. I don't care what your political stance is. We need to speak out against anti-crypto idiots. These people have real power, and they are out to financially harm us. No thanks. And yes, listen, I don't care if you are Democratic. I don't care if you are Republican. when we really kind of look at this, right, there is a lot of issues rising around the anti-crypto stance. It has been a long time coming. It has been a big problem. And these are the individuals, right? Like, these are the 9 new co-sponsors of the anti-crypto bill. They are all Democrats. Again, it does not matter in terms of the political stance here. When we look at all of these people, these are the ones that need to be voted out. This is ridiculous. And listen, like, I strongly believe that crypto needs to be protected. I don't know who's going to protect it, but it seems as though US crypto markets are definitely in trouble right now because they are in the crosshairs of these anti-crypto individuals. And they do have power. A lot of people think that, Warren doesn't have power because, only a few, or actually just one of her 315 bills were enacted into law. That's a 0.32% success rate that we are seeing posted by LOP here. But we know from Ryan Selkis, which recently just went off on Gary Gensler in a space, Warren is incredibly powerful. She doesn't pass bills. She places bureaucrats in high positions in the admin, essentially a shadow president of financial services. And yes, this is the issue. These are people that are not specifically passing bills, but they are getting bills passed through their, crowd of individuals that they are supporting and putting in place. It's all a game of chess. And also, remember that this is all on par with the Operation Choke Point 2.0. We've talked about this many times, and it just recently came back up. It's been a big spotlighted thing over on Twitter now. And this is actually getting posted by the Bitcoin magazine. The withdrawal issue core story, Operation Choke Point 2.0, how US regulators fight Bitcoin with financial censorship. A recapitulation of the March 2023 banking crisis and the US government crackdown on Bitcoin and crypto. The takeover of SVB and Signature Bank was spun by the Treasury, the Fed, and the FDIC as a means to protect the banking system. Yet it appears to be a blatant reemergence of the prejudice displayed during Operation Choke Point and connected to a larger effort to stymie cryptocurrency. And here we have bank runs with bias. And then down here, we do see Operation Choke Point 2.0 refers to the coordinated effort by the Biden administration. Again, it does not matter on your political stance here, but their financial regulators to suffocate our domestic crypto economy by debanking the industry, U.S. Senator Bill Hagerty told Bitcoin magazine. And down here, we do see Bitcoin is firmly entrenched along with crypto in the minds of regulators, yet more education could help underscore the distinctions between Bitcoin and altcoins and better protect Bitcoin from more justified regulatory limits on manipulated tokens and vaporware. And of course, they do link to the full article, but we've talked about this in the past, right? Like, there's obviously a coordinated attack on crypto happening. And I think it really kind of all stemmed from the SEC. And even just recently, we've seen that the SEC says Binance US is not cooperating with its investigation into the company. And a lot of people were actually spinning this the wrong way. Like, a lot of people were saying, like, oh, this is not good. Like, Binance is about to go under. I was like, they shouldn't. Why should they cooperate with the SEC? The SEC has failed miserably and has yet to actually protect retail investors. The SEC also hasn't cooperated with any of, the defendants. Go back to the Ripple case, for an example. The SEC really showed who they are during that case. And also, I said, in fact, the XRP and Ripple lawsuit did more than $15 billion in damages to the retail sector. Should we even bring up the Bitcoin futures ETF that got passed, but the spot ETF won't? Again, like, how is the SEC protecting the retail sector at all? They're not. They're absolutely not. This is ridiculous. Now, also, outside of this, September 9th, Ripple lawyer calls SEC's latest filing hypocritical pivot. Stuart Alderati highlighted that Gensler had requested an urgent appeal despite asserting that crypto regulations and rules were clear and must be adhered to by the industry. That's what we're seeing, right? Everything is so clear. We need to make sure that, crypto becomes regulated because the rules are so clear. Nobody's following these rules. Remember, that's why Prometheum got the free pass, right? Because Prometheum actually came in and registered with us. What an absolute joke of a statement. It is extremely hypocritical, right? Because we know that the SEC has not been transparent at all. The rules are not clear. We know this from all of the major litigation that we've seen from the SEC with many other players. And also, right, like we recently just seen Gary Gensler say that crypto is a field rife with fraud, abuse, misconduct. It's daunting. But we never see them going after, the insider trading of congressional members. We don't see them, going after like actual scams in the space, like FTX, for an example, or Voyager, or even Celsius, you name it. No, it's the entire space is bad. I can name multiple, major events in time that the US dollar was utilized for illegal activity, fraud. I mean, come on. Seriously? Crypto is a field rife with fraud and abuse and misconduct, but we're not going to target fiat currency either? Like, this is ridiculous. And also, we see over here, watch Gary Gensler awkwardly freeze up after stating the crypto industry runs past the law. That's the quote here. And the interviewer responds with, they do seem to be finding some sympathetic judges, referring to the SEC's recent court losses to Ripple and Grayscale. Check this out.
So whether it's about broker dealers, whether it's about exchanges, whether it's about custody, we have taken up the path where we find it appropriate to put out the public comments and proposals. But there are laws, there are rules, not just here at the SEC, but across a number of areas. I think this is a field that a lot of it just wants to run past that and suggest otherwise.
They do seem to be finding some sympathetic judges. So you have to be careful on that one.
So yeah, I mean, awkward pause there. But as we really kind of look at this, I don't really understand how Gary Gensler could be going around and, saying half of the things that he says. Like, as we really look at things that have happened in the past, we know that there was a blind eye turned on Ethereum. We know this. In fact, there's a huge tweet going around now from Steven Neryoff. I hope that I'm saying that last name right. What do you see? It's agency created law, whatever that means. And how exactly did Ethereum even satisfy this magical agency pixie dust? Is it possible that some people knew it wasn't valid when giving or advising on the speech and the state of Ethereum, perhaps even under oath? One would almost think that William Hinman, Mark Berger, and even Jay Clayton were sent to the SEC Gov for this very purpose, joined by career folks who helped execute the plan like Valerie S. And also John N. Wright, John Daniels, and others. I'm sure this is all crazy talk and everything isn't as it appears. What do you see from Digital Asset Buy? Now that we've had multiple crypto lawsuits and decisions, can any crypto/securities attorney point me to the judge in any of them discussing the fifth prong of the Howey test created by Bill Hinman that to this day has the SEC leaving Bitcoin and Ethereum alone while saying all other digital assets are fair game? Again, listen, I want you all to understand that I don't care for Bitcoin or Ethereum being targeted. I don't like any of this space being targeted. One thing that I do want to understand, though, is how all of these other tokens are fair game outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like, we need a level playing field in here, not to quote, the whole idea of what Ripple has been trying to say, but, we're talking about regulations here. We need a level playing field. If Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to be left alone, then all of these other digital assets, for the most part, should be left alone. Check out this video real quick, though. It's 35 seconds long.
Full decentralization, and that's what the Hinman speech, which tracks my memo pretty well, has come out and said. And the Hinman speech has generally said, okay, decentralization, we think, gets both Bitcoin and Ether out of securities law status. And sort of the way I positioned it in the memo was, that's kind of like a bookend. That's like an easy case. Like, if it's fully decentralized, there's no real issuer, so it's relatively easy to test for a fully decentralized token.
So yeah, leave the ICO out of that. Don't even mention the ICO. It's fully decentralized. Nobody really controls it, even though we already have gone down the rabbit hole on those wallets, those ICO whale wallets. And also outside of this, right? Like, you know, like it really confirms the fact that we have seen a blind eye on Ethereum, right? Like they turned a blind eye on Ethereum, went directly after XRP, and it just stopped there, right? Like, all right, yep, forget Ethereum, forget Bitcoin, forget the, you know, the free pass, go after XRP, go after Ripple. And then from there, we've seen domino effect after domino effect. And the first one was actually Library, right? Like Library was the big one. And we know that Library actually just recently appealed. And there's been a lot of great developments around that. But at the end of the day, like, you know, as we really kind of look at the SEC, this is an agency that is not fit for the law, right? Like they're not fit for crypto. They shouldn't have any power. You know, a lot of people think that Congress should be the ones to really kind of usher in regulations. Again, I'm kind of concerned about, you know, Congress because, again, there's a lot of people on Congress that have, you know, the same view as Elizabeth Warren. At the end of the day, you know, regulations, we need them, right? We need proper regulations. The problem is that we don't know what we are going to get. We need to follow a global regulatory framework anyways, which I've talked about, the FSB, the IMF, the BIS, the G20. Hopefully something here soon really kind of stomps out the SEC. I think that the SEC has, for the most part, also lost a lot of weight to their name around the space. I could be wrong, but from my point of view, I really don't respect the SEC as much as I did initially. I also don't look at the SEC as a... I really don't look at them as an agency that's trying to protect this space or protect the retail sector. I actually look at the SEC as a bully, if you will, around crypto. They're just really kind of becoming a mob, if you will, to try to stomp out, you know, the losers, and they're trying to pick the winners, right? They're picking winners, they're choosing losers, and that's exactly what we have seen from the SEC so far. So, you know, to me personally, things are getting rough around regulations right now, because as we really kind of look at things, I can't help but come to the conclusion that Moon Lamo came to, which was, you know, these are people that are trying to financially harm us. They are trying to target the retail sector. They don't want the retail sector getting rich. That's what the congressional members do, right? 3,000% gains on their yearly salaries off of, you know, their personal investments. Just like Gary Gensler is worth $40 to $100 million because of his personal investments. Like, get out of here, right? We already know that that's all nonsense. So as we really kind of look at this space, there's a lot of problems right now around regulations. We definitely need to try to vote these people out of office. We need to stomp out this anti-crypto nonsense, especially that, you know, Elizabeth Warren is trying to pursue. The question is, and I know that a lot of people are going to bring it up, like, Nick, do you honestly think that we can do that? Do you think that, you know, voting even matters? Is this all rigged? Because a lot of people think that the voting is rigged. There's a lot of manipulation here. And I think that it's so clear, even with like the CPI data excluding a lot of things. It's hard to say, but I really do look forward to the possible crypto frameworks that are coming from the actual big guys outside of Congress and the SEC. And hopefully here soon, maybe we could see something beneficial come from that, where we do stomp out the SEC and we stomp out these individuals like Elizabeth Warren, for an example. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because of my free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Peace out.